Okay, so for this little episode, I want to hone in on the importance of waiting. Now, I need you to know that that word alone used to be hard for me. I remember back when I was living at the orphanage, me and one of my friends, when we heard that word, we called it a swear word. We're like, don't you dare say the W word to me right now, because we're in a season of wait, 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 and that can be annoying. I'm not going to act like it's not hard to wait, but I just want to hone in on just my process. And we're going to start from 2013. Okay. Yes, a lot has happened prior to 2013, but we're just going to hone in there for now. So it was 2013 that I was a counselor at I think it was like a week summer camp. It was super short. And I through that there were some people from Bethel Bible School, and I got sparked. It was like something in me was like, I want to go to Bethel Bible School. And I had this like I've heard of the school before, but I didn't have this like feeling about it until this camp. I was like, I want to go there. Immediately when I felt I want to go there, I also felt in my spirit 4 years. Wait. 4 years. And I need you to know that's the last thing I wanted to hear. I lived in my hometown at the time. I wanted out. I already tried to get out before and it wasn't a good situation for me. And so then I moved back, and that's the short of it. And if we want to hone in on that too, the Lord told me no to the situation. I felt it in my spirit. I did not hear this audible voice of no. It was no. And I did it anyways. And before I officially went into that situation, I felt in my spirit again 3 months. And I was like, I'm going to be there so much longer than 3 months. 3 months. Okay. So there's that story. So that's a little bit before 2013. Now we're in 2013. I want to go to Bethel Bible School, and I hear wait 4 years. And I'm like, that's not the word from the Lord I wanted to hear, but that's where we were at. In short, I waited. That was not my favorite, but blessings still happened in the waiting. And then all of a sudden now it's 2017. I waited 4 years and I moved to NorCal and got signed up for Bethel Bible School and all this. And I worked at Dutch Bros prior in my hometown purposely so I could transfer to the Dutch Bros franchise over here. So then I could work, be a little barista, and then go to Bible school, right? So all that to say, I waited 4 years. Now it's 2017. I get transferred to the CC stand. Okay. And this is where the buildup is coming. This is where the 4 years, it's all going to be worth the wait, and it keeps unfolding. Okay. So first day, I noticed this guy I'm working with, and I'm like, I don't know this guy. I've never seen this guy a day in my life. There's something about him. I want him on my team. I just had that feeling inside of here. Like, that's just the way to explain it. My first impression of him was, I want this guy on my team. Come to find out, that later on was going to be my best friend, who is my brother. And now we've been friends literally since. Like, that is a go-to man in my life. That is my best friend. That is my brother. Here's the catch with that. In 2017, so he recently transferred to this stand because he used to be at another stand. Okay. Important to note. And then we have guy number two, one of my buddies, Dark Angelo. He also transferred to this stand. I don't know how long he'd been there, but nonetheless, he didn't start there. But in 2017 summer, he was there. Next guy, I need you to know this story is honing in on some dudes. There were many more people that impacted me at the CC stand, but just for kind of the story's sake, we're honing in on these three. So then dude number 3 is Micah. He just finished his flow test and he trained at another stand, but then he got transferred to the CC stand. So it's 2017. I waited 4 years, and now here are these 3 dudes, and they're going to be extremely impacting moving forward. And again, there were so many other people at the CC stand that it was very impacting, and I'm so glad, and all that stuff. So here we are. I meet them. We're having a good time, and then I'm going to move to Mexico. Okay, because I waited 4 years to move to California. But then my missions trip, at my Bible school, you had the opportunity to go on a missions trip if you wanted to, and you could go to all these places. I was like, I want to go to France. I want to practice mon français, and I want to go to France. But then I looked at the agenda for the France missions trip, and I was like, that's actually not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. And then I see a little Tecate, Mexico missions, and it's like orphanage working with children. I'm like, that's it. That's it. Go to that missions trip. So it's 2018 at that point. So I started school 2017, 2018. I then go on my missions trip to Tecate, Mexico, and I'm at the orphanage that I'm going to now live at. So fast forward, I finished my school year and then I moved to Mexico. Well, there are other details, but let's just skip ahead. I went and I lived in Tecate. Well, technically it was Tijuana, but we crossed at the Tecate border. And anyways, that's why they kind of call it Tecate and Tijuana. But all that to say, my dream of working out of orphanage was there. I literally had a dream for years to work at an orphanage and mother children. And I moved there so I could be a house parent. And I ended up being a teacher and a house parent and all that. And I did that that whole orphanage process for a year. And then I felt my time was up, and then I moved back into the States. And I moved back into the States. Now, remember the time frame of all this, right? Wait 4 years, moved to California 2017. Now it's 2018. And then I leave Mexico 2019. What hit 2020? COVID. So basically after I had this experience at the orphanage, I then was going to go back to visit, and I couldn't because COVID hit. All this stuff, everything went down. Had I gone to Mexico later, had I gone to move to California later, it wouldn't have lined up the way it did for me in Mexico. And I'm telling you, that was one of the hardest years of my life, living at the orphanage. It sounds really dramatic, but seriously, it was so amazing, but like also so hard. So many aspects were so hard. But in the mix of all of it, the year I went, it was God. Okay. Because I waited, because of the timing, it was perfect timing to be at the orphanage in the position I was in, the people I met, all this amazingness, all because I waited. Right. Okay. So now moving forward, we're going to be skipping ahead a lot. The year is now 2020. I am moving back to California because I did go back to my hometown for a little bit to save up to come back to California. And now I'm at a new Dutch Bros stand because Dutch Bros, first off, shout out to Dutch Bros for a second because they really worked with my school schedule. I knew from a young age, I knew from starting at Dutch Bros, I did not want a franchise. I did not care to be manager. I'll be a shift lead. That's fine. But that was not the goal. That goal was for Dutch Bros to just help me get to my next thing. And it really did. And it's really good with your schedule. At least my people were. But all that to say, I am now going back to California and I'm going to college and then I'm working at Dutch Bros again. I go to a different stand, not CC. And okay, let's pause for a second though. So it's now 2020 and I'm at the downtown stand. Okay. But before that, back to the CC dudes that I met in 2017, I just need to emphasize I also got so much emotional healing with the group of men I was around because I'd never been around men like that before. Not to say I never was around men that were kind and caring, but to the extent that I experienced with CC boys, it literally set a standard in my life. I got emotional healing. These men were so kind, so caring, so had your back. And it was wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. Seriously, emotional healing from CC boys. Okay. Again, that whole crew, 2017. Okay. Now moving back to 2020. It is, yeah, COVID. That was weird. But I am working at a stand and I'm vibing with the people, right? It's good. And then the manager leaves. And that's oh no. It's just now I have to reprove myself to another manager. It's a process. But anyways, who is it? It's going to be Micah. Remember the 3 boys at CC I honed in on earlier? It's Micah. Little Micah that just finished his flow test and transferred to Churn Creek is now manager because he worked for it and now he's my manager. Okay. And then the whole joke, me and him work very well together. Okay. And the whole joke with that is one time I was having a conversation with him. I was like, okay, you know how people say they have like work spouses? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I just feel like me and you, I didn't even finish my sentence. He just shook his head like, yeah. So that was it. I'm like, he was my work husband. I was his work wife. That was the duo. That was it. Right. So much history with that guy. And just, he was an amazing manager and he was a good friend and like all that stuff. So Micah still connected. Also still connected to Dark Angelo, and Bob's my best friend at this point. So those 3 from the beginning, still there. And I'm working at Dutch Bros for a while, but then all of a sudden Dark Angelo pops in and said, hey, I have this job. I think you should apply. And I didn't because I'm like, meh, I don't know. And then eventually he got me and I left Dutch Bros because that wasn't the dream anyways. And I left Dutch Bros and I got this job that Dark Angelo referred me to. And in short, this job literally paid for it was, I was working sales and I got a lot of deals, and in that deal time frame it's like I got to pay off my car early and all this stuff. So I just want to highlight the blessings in this isn't to like highlight like look at me and my fabulous life. It's like, yeah, but also back to timing. God told me to wait 4 years. And so you have to understand everything that is following after the wait is because I chose to wait. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, because I waited till 2017, I got to work with Dark Angelo. Dark Angelo's still in my life in 2020. He just got me this new job that is now paying for a whole bunch of stuff, amazing healthcare and all this. And I had that job for 3 years and a month, and I got promoted. I was going to be doing another position and it was more admin work. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All of a sudden, I got let go. And you have to understand, we're now in the year 2025. Okay. We're really skipping ahead now. What do you mean? What the heck? What is that? Like, I just got promoted and now you're letting me go and all this stuff. Like, it was a lot to go through. And in that process from earlier this year, I just felt 2-month break. You know how God like gives me those numbers like, hey, 3 months. I'm like, nah, it was 3 months. Hey, wait 4 years, waited amazingness. Getting let go isn't amazing, but let me tell you what's been following. So now I'm unemployed, and it's today officially we hit the 2-month mark. As of today, I got a new job, and it's a job that, again, Dark Angelo referred me to. Dark Angelo put in a word and was like, don't you apply to this until I get you a referral. So this guy's now at 2 for 2 for getting me a job outside of Dutch Bros. And this job is amazing. It's working. I'd be coaching and like doing teaching and stuff like that. And it's amazing. So because I met Dark Angelo in 2017, we got to connect, like all this stuff. He got me 2 jobs, and now I'm actually in something that's like my passion. Sales was not my passion. Let's just be clear. Do I know how to do it and do it well? Yeah, because I'm an actress. So give me the like script and basically I can do it. But anyways, so then there's that, right? And Micah, aka old work husband, I've stayed connected with all 3 of these guys, right? They're amazing men. And he called me and he's like, hey, so me and my wife are going to be franchising. Well, it's called operating now. Back when I started Dutch Bros, it was franchising. And anyways, he just basically said, do you want to be our nanny? Do you want to move to Florida and be our nanny? And Lord has called me to California full time, but like part summer, like maybe. All that to say, I got a new job that also is accommodating me going to Florida for the summer to go nanny for Micah and his wife and his 2 now baby girls. And so all that, I'm not even giving every single detail of the 2017 launch off to 2025, but just, do you see all this? Like, because I waited, I met those men. And then that led to this, and then that led to this. And it's just like now, because of two of those men, I literally got two jobs. Like, I'm going to be doing that job, and I'm also going to be nannying. And like, I'm just like, this all just happened today that I got officially because it was in the waiting to be like, I don't know if I could be your nanny yet. I got to see when this job wants to start me and all this stuff. Perfect. Perfect timing. Perfect. Just, I'm just in awe of the choreography. I'm in awe of the orchestration. Just like, it just makes me go back to 2013 of wait 4 years. That was a long 4 years. That wasn't the easiest 4 year wait. But because of that, got transferred to CC, met these dudes and so many other people that impacted me. And then got to go to Mexico before COVID, before the world got really weird. And then it keeps going on. And it's important to wait. It's so important to wait. I think about like, what if you went to California earlier? I don't think it would have been terrible. I think I would have met other people along the way, but it's like, but would I have met Micah, Dark Angelo, and Ba? I just think I I don't want to know a day with those bros not being on my team. You know what I mean? And it's just like because I waited. And it was just, I think of that. So when I lost my job earlier this year, I heard wait to like 2 months break. I'm like, can I have a break knowing I have a job? Because that's so much easier. But here's the thing, the Lord doesn't always give you the planner. He just says, hey, make room for this. I'm like, and what's the outfit? And what are the shoes I'll be wearing? Can you come back? He never leaves, but it's just, I did. I waited 2 months, and yes, I'm still applying for jobs, and nobody's getting back to me. Nobody wants me. It was like, I have always worked. You have to understand, I've never been like this unemployed before. Maybe in high school when I didn't get a babysitting gig or something, but in all my adult life, I've never been in this position. But you know what? Because I got let go, it literally forced me to sit down and take a break. And then I'm still, I'm not just a couch potato in that. I'm working out, I'm applying for jobs, I'm trying to find my own next thing when I just kept feeling rest, take a break. And then bam, 2 months is up, as of literally today. And I got another job offer too. So that I literally got three jobs today. If I want the third. And just wow. I feel like oftentimes at least in my life, I've heard people be like, it's worth the wait, just wait. And that's not what I want to hear when I'm waiting. I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't want to wait. Tell me what's after the wait, then maybe I'll want to wait. You know what I'm saying? Some things I'm totally happy waiting around for. But all that to say, like, so worth it. So worth it. Like, especially like when it's God ordained waiting. If God asks you to wait or tells you to wait, because we still have free will. I could have said nah, like I did in that other scenario where he said no, and I said I'm doing it anyways, and then he said 3 months, and then it was 3 months, and I was back. Okay. So we do have free will, but obviously he says no for a reason. God is not this killjoy. I've heard people be like, well, he's just rulesy and all this stuff. I'm like, it's boundaries to protect you, to keep you safe, to better you. Again, I could have moved to California earlier than 2017, but I wouldn't be in the position that I am today had I not met those three men. Like, I'm still in awe. Like, this all happened today, like, of like, you got the job that's accommodating you to have a Florida summertime nanny time journey with an old friend, old coworker, like, and all because I waited those 4 years. Like, I'm still in amazement, and it just keeps unfolding, you know? And the thing is, if I only had those three men for the school year, they're special and I'm so thankful for it, but it's the fact that those men have been in my life. Not always. We don't talk every single day. Like, Ba, that's my brother. That's my best friend. We talk more often and stuff because of that. But it's just like all that to say, it's the fact that there's been a continuation with those dudes in my life. And it's just been such a blessing to know them, such a blessing to have them, such a blessing that like I get to be a nanny for one of them and help take care of him, his wife, his wife's and his baby girls. Like, are you kidding me? I wouldn't have had that opportunity had I not been transferred that year at that time to meet him. You know what I mean? So waiting is worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And I'm sharing highlights with you. I'm sharing highlights, but I need you to know there were tears in the waiting. There was frustration in the waiting. The why am I in this? How much longer do I have to wait? Why did I just get let go? Why did this happen? Why? And it's like, oh, that's why. It forced me to take a break. It forced me to sit the heck on down and just take a break and then have other people like, just hire me on after a couple months. Like, I'm in awe. I'm in amazement. It's worth the wait. If God's telling you to wait, if God's telling you no, I used to really not like it when he told me no. I'm just like, again, how many more times are you going to tell me that? You know what I mean? He's my dad. Father God is my dad. We have real conversations. Okay. I'm not always like, yes, Father, what would you like? Lord knows my sassy heart. Okay. I love you, but like, why are you telling me no again? You know what I'm saying? All that to say though, I've learned to love his no more, because if Father God tells me no, I know he's not wasting my time. I know that if I choose to push that, then it's not the best, because a really good father doesn't say no just cuz. A really good father would say no because he's like, no, that's not the best, my child. That's not safe, my child. And I think oftentimes, on a side note, I heard sometimes we can view God based on how we view our parents. So if your parents maybe told you no a lot because they just didn't want to take initiative, didn't want to take you to the park, you can maybe view God like he's a lazy God, like he's just saying no because he's lazy. No, that man isn't lazy. If he tells you no, it's for a very, very good reason. It's because there's better. And yeah, if he tells you to wait, it's because there's better. And if you just wait, you're going to get the better. And, some things take time to cook in the oven. And do you want like doughy muffins or do you want the fully cooked muffins? Just another example, but that's just my story. And just to tell you, there's so many more little side details, but like just in my current 2025, because of the wait for 2017, all the people I met, now where I'm at, like, wow, it was all worth it. It was worth the wait. It was worth the extra days in my hometown to now be at this place in this kind of way. I'm so thankful. And just anybody out there just having a hard time being in the waiting, just know better is to come. And the grass is greener on the other side. If the side that you're currently on is toxic, unhealthy, you're super unhappy, there is a greener on the other side. And I've heard people be in situations that were I was a part of a situation and I was very aware of how unhealthy this thing over here was. And I would hear people say, well, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I'm like, it is. I've been on the other side. It's super green and it's way better than this. So I don't ever get in that place too of just like, it just is what it is. Grass isn't always greener on the other. If you're super unhappy, there is a greener side. That's you. I just don't ever just have that mindset of just being stuck in, well, the grass isn't always green. It is. If you're unhappy, there is a greener side. There is a happier side. Sometimes we have to wait for it, and sometimes we get it like that. But all that to say, it's worth the wait. God tells you to wait, it's worth the wait. And it's just so fun to literally continue just living, just being, and seeing the domino effect of it all started in 2017, and just this section of my life. And Yeah. So I just want to encourage people out there. If you're feeling to wait and you've been waiting for a while, you will get breakthrough. Sometimes we can delay our process if we're not doing what we should be doing, though. Disobedience delays. So with that encouragement, we check ourselves and figure out what's my assignment for this season. When I got let go, my assignment was to rest. That's not the assignment I wanted. I'm like, send me to the nations. Where am I going? Sitting, resting. What is this? That was my assignment. And I had to take that assignment as seriously as if he told me go back to Mexico and be at the orphanage. Sometimes I feel like people have an easier time taking on an excitement or like an assignment because they're like, oh, well, that's really important. Yeah, I'll take that on. But also, if your assignment is rest, that's really important. And also in this season, it's given me an opportunity, whether I liked it or not, to practice what I preach. I had a couple friends of mine who God told them they were supposed to be resting. And I was like, if you're supposed to be resting right now, that means he's going to provide for you. If you're supposed to be resting, that's your assignment, and you need to honor the assignment the Lord gave you. Doing the opposite of what he told you to do, that's not where there's the extra blessing, right? And so then all that to say, then I get let go. I don't have a job and I'm hearing rest. And those friends, came at me in a loving way. They're just like, now you get to practice what you preached to us. And I did. I did. And it's hard waiting, but it's worth waiting. So if the only thing you got out of this with is good things come to those that wait, then yes, that's the summary. But it's so, so worth it. It's so, so worth it. So if you don't have a piece about going to the next yet, it's just like, okay, then wait, because you will find peace in the next thing you're supposed to go to. There might be those little butterflies of like, oh, that's so nerve-wracking. The thought of being in humid, alligator-infested Florida. Sometimes I get the but then the peace is stronger than the you know? And it's just like, yeah. So it's worth the wait. Follow the peace. And if God's telling you to wait, if you just obey that, he will not disappoint.